Okay, today we're going to be learning about how to graph circles on a graph, and also about the equation. So we have the equation up at the top here, and so the most important things that we have here is that the x and y stay x's and y's just like in any equation. The h that we have here is going to be my x coordinate, and then the k here is going to be my y coordinate. And then the last thing is on the right hand side, the thing that's by itself is going to be my radius, and we're going to square whatever our radius is. So with the first question, I have what is the standard equation of a circle with center 5, -2? And so again, I'm going to do x minus my x coordinate, which is 5, squared, and then plus y minus my y coordinate, which is -2, squared. Oops, double parentheses. And then it says it has a radius of 7, so I'm going to have 7 squared. That's just me plugging in numbers into our formula. So when I simplify that all down, I can go x minus 5 squared plus y plus 2 squared. Did a positive 2 because it's a minus a negative, and then 7 squared, which is 49. And that's my standard form equation if I wanted to write with a center at 5, -2, and a radius of 7. Same thing with the second one that I have here. I'm going to go x minus -2 squared plus y minus -1 squared is equal to the square root of 2 squared. So when I simplify that, again, I'm going to go x plus 2 squared plus y plus 1 squared is equal to, and then when I square a square root sign, the square and the square root cancel each other out, and so what I'm left with is just a regular 2. So right over here, the square and the square root cancel each other out, so I'm left with just a 2. Same thing with these last two. This y-axis didn't really show up very well, so if I want to write an equation for this bottom left graph, my center happens at the ordered pair 0, 0. And then my radius, what I can do is I can just count horizontally to the edge of my circle. And so from the center to the side, that's going to be 2 spaces, so I know that my radius is going to be 2. So when I plug that in, I'm going to go x minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared is equal to 2 squared. And so if I want to simplify that, it's actually kind of easy. I'm actually going to move over here. It just ends up being x squared plus y squared, because adding or subtracting 0 doesn't change anything, is equal to, and then 4 for my right-hand side. Same thing with the problem over here. Again, my y-axis didn't really show up very well, and neither did my x-axis. So my center of this circle, C, is going to be equal to 0, 3. And then my radius, again, I can just kind of go from the center of the circle off to the right. It's 2 spaces, and so my radius is going to be 2 again. So when I write my equation, I can go x squared plus y minus 3 squared is equal to 2 squared, which is 4. What we have here is being able to graph 2 points and then write an equation of a circle that has a center and then goes through another ordered pair. We'll have to use the Pythagorean theorem here to help us find out what the radius is. So with the first one over on the left-hand side, I've got a center of 1, -3. So 1, 1, 2, 3. And it goes through the ordered pair to 2. So this is the center of my circle, and this, so if I roughly graph the circle, it would look something like this. So to find the radius, again, I'm just going to use the Pythagorean theorem. If I were to do that, I'm going to make it into a vertical piece and a horizontal piece. And so I know that this thing goes to the right 1, and then it goes up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so I know that my radius is going to be, so r squared is equal to 5 squared plus 1 squared. So r squared is equal to, 5 squared is 25, 1 squared is 1, so it's going to be 26. And so I could take the square root of both sides, but and that would give me 5 point something. But since my equation for a circle, the right-hand side is r squared, I know that that's going to be 26. So I can write my standard form. I'm going to use my center and then my radius. So I've got x minus 1 squared plus y minus negative 3 squared, which ends up turning into a big plus sign, so plus 3, is equal to, and since it's r squared, I know that r squared is going to be this 26. So it's kind of a shortcut, so I don't have to take the square root and then square it. So that's my standard form equation of that graph right there. Same thing with over on the right-hand side. I'm going to graph my points, so 4, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and then negative 1, positive 1. And so again, this is going to be the center of my circle, so if I would kind of graph it approximately, it would be something like this. And so I want to find out what my radius is here. So again, I can turn it into a horizontal and vertical component. 1, 2, 3, 4, it's 5 to the left and 2 down. So I know that my radius squared is going to be equal to, that's my hypotenuse squared, 2 squared plus 5 squared. So I get r squared is equal to, 5 squared is 25, 2 squared is 4, so I would get 29. Again, I could take the square root to find out what the radius is. It'll give me 5 point something, but all I really need to know is my r squared. So when I do this, again, I've got my center, and I've got my radius squared. And so I'm going to go x minus 4 squared plus y minus 3 squared is equal to 29. These last ones are then going to be kind of working backwards, so going from the equation to graph it. So with the first one here, so I'm looking at this equation right here. Again, the center of my circle, just remember that my formula is x minus my x-coordinate and y minus my y-coordinate. So in this case, x minus, and then my x-coordinate is going to actually be a positive 2. Same thing with my y-coordinates. Y minus my y-coordinate, so my y-coordinate's actually going to be 3. And then my radius, again, this 100 is my r squared. And so to find out what r is, I can just take the square root of 100, which is 10. For this to fit on my graph nicely, I'm going to use a scale of 2. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. So what I can do is I can take that ordered pair, so 2, 3 is my center. So 2, 3 will be right about there. And then since I have a radius of 10, to make a good-looking graph, I can go 10 to the right, 10 to the left, 10 up, and 10 down. So I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So I know that that's 10 to the right, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And then to the, again up. This is going to be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And then 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And so when I'm graphing these, I'm just going to draw a big old circle, kind of connecting these 4 points together. I've got my center, I've got my radius. And so there's my circle. It looks pretty great. Same thing with this last one. Again, same type of thing. So my x-coordinate, again, it's x minus my x-coordinate. So my actual x-coordinate is going to be 8 for the center of my circle. And then since it's just a y squared, it's going to be 8, 0. Again, this 9 is my radius squared, so I can take the square root of it to get my radius is going to actually be 3. Again, when I graph this, I'm going to graph it using a scale of 2 again, so 2, 4, 6, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. So the center is going to be at 8, 0, which is right there. There's my center. And then I'm going to go ahead and graph. My radius is 3, so again, going over 3, there's 2 and there's 3. There's 2 and there's 3. 2 and 3. 2 and 3. And so my circle ends up looking something like this. Just like that, a center with a radius of 3.